This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli, the forgiveness doctor, and I'm here today with Catherine, and we're going to be doing, I think it's her first EPT session. You've never had an EPT session, right, Catherine?
No, I have not.
All right, and so this will be her first session, and EPT is a completely different approach in emotional health care. EPT stands for Emotional Polarity Technique, and rather than using traditional counseling methods where you do talk therapy, or now we have for emotional health care, people use medications, EPT relies on the science of forgiveness. So what we do is we have a systematic approach, and that is also strategic, that identifies where you have emotional conflicts that are still lingering in your psychological and emotional and spiritual being. And we identify them, and then we help rewrite or reframe the script using forgiveness statements. And you won't have to come up with your own forgiveness statements because I will help you do that, which is like
Mhm.
one of the benefits of doing EPT. It makes it a whole lot easier. There's a lot less talk and more guidance and rescripting of what's in your mind so that, your life just feels better immediately. Most people feel lighter. Most people notice that there's a perceivable change in how they feel about memories and things. Oh,
Mhm.
my thing is coming here. Wait a minute. I have stuff popping on my computer that is unannounced. Okay. So anyway, so part of the things that we do, I want to say that a in-person EPT session is and a remote EPT session, which is what we're doing here online, they're about 80% exactly the same. So it's about 80% the same. Where it's different is, and I may point it out as I go,
Mhm.
I have to instruct you on how to do, put your hands in certain places that I might hold or that I would hold if you were right in front of me. The other thing is I use magnets, and these are my magnet covers because I don't really want to put magnets just on me, but I'll show people who are looking. In EPT, we do use magnets. We use magnets in remote sessions and in-person sessions. However, since you've never had a session of EPT, and this is your first session, we can do this without magnets. It's just that over time, if you like commit to a series of EPT, we really expect people, even if it's remote, to get their own set of magnets so they can use it during the session. And I show you how to use it. So when I'm doing this online, I show people by using my magnet covers. And we also, excuse me, we also have you use your hand on certain points on your forehead. We also have you like do some things where you squeeze your head and breathe and rub some points on your upper chest. Sometimes we tap the head. So
Mhm.
those are some of the things that we intervene on very, very strategic body points and neurological settings that affect the brain and the nervous system and even the organ systems. So part of why we're doing that is because in order to write a brand new script that your body is going to believe, we have to reset some of the neuropeptide link ups that are happening in the body and some of the body reactions. So we're
Mhm.
actually incorporating body cues as well.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to do, well, even before I start there, let me ask Catherine, do you know what you want to work on?
Um, so I was thinking about this before the meeting, and one thing that I think I really need to bring attention to is I have a habit of self-neglect and abandonment.
Yeah.
Um, I don't tune in like I should, as much as I should.
So, I mean, you just even saying that tells me that you've already done a lot of work.
Really?
I mean, you must have done some work because how would you even know you do that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, you know what I mean? You're observing something really intimate about yourself that and you've defined it. I'm neglecting myself and I'm abandoning what my needs are.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna guess that it's not just my needs like I need to eat 3 meals a day and I need to take a shower. It's things like I need my relationships to deliver something to me or to show up a certain way, and they don't always, and I give it the pass.
Definitely. It's funny because it's even basic needs too, but we can get into
Yeah.
that.
Well, that'll all get interwoven into this session, I'm sure. So you even like notice that you're not good at just adulting, like taking care
No.
of the needs you need to be an adult instead of a child in a house where mom's doing the laundry and mom's taking care of the groceries and all that.
Yeah, no, I tap out. I tap out.
Oh wow. So you literally, I like the way you say you tap out. So you literally um I want to say you functionally disassociate.
Yes.
Yeah. So time can go by. It's like that state of mind where you go offline, but you're still acting like a robot and going through the motions of life. You just, because
Hmm.
you're offline, you don't get it all done right.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you turn around and you're like, oh, why is this a mess? But you really don't have the ability to create anything when you're
Mm.
in that state of mind.
Yes.
So while we're here, I will tell you, um, there are two states of mind that the brain goes into in trauma. And one state of mind is the panic state, where the person is saying, oh my God, we're going to have a car wreck. What do I do? I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm panicking. I need to turn. I need to look in my rearview mirror. Um, that's panic. That's stage one trauma, phase one
Mhm.
trauma in the brain. And phase two is where the person literally goes offline and functionally disassociates. So I'm
Mhm.
only mentioning those two brain states, and you can read about that in Bessel van der Kolk's book, "When the Body Keeps the Score."
Yeah.
He is genius, and he explains those two trauma states that the brain, it can be seen on an MRI. And
Mhm.
I'm bringing it up because you just described yourself in the state of functional disassociation,
That's
which,
crazy. I have the book too, so I should read it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
I
you
should read it. It shouldn't sit on my shelf anymore.
That's right. I'm telling you, that is a brilliant book. And because you just described that, it means that in my mind as a practitioner, I'm immediately saying, where's the trauma? Like,
Everywhere.
where is the trauma that you trained yourself to functionally disassociate from?
Yeah.
Because right now, I'm willing to bet that it's only a memory in your brain, but your brain is so terrified of the memory that it
Mhm.
holds you in the state of the functional disassociation so that you never encounter the memory.
That resonates a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is part of what's going on. Now, I would guess that I'm going to guess, I mean, as we go, we'll see what's actually real because I'm going to do muscle testing to kind of
Mhm.
see if I'm on track with what resonates with you and your body. Um, so self-neglect and abandonment, that's kind of also describing functional disassociation
Mhm.
because it's like you're going through a robotic type of situation. And you're doing it from a childhood perspective because an adult is going to do more. If I'm trained, if I had to be an adult when I was a little kid, because nobody was there for me, then I might be a better adult, or I might be an adult that's like a child. Either way, I could be either way.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so the self-neglect and abandonment may not really be something that you purposefully do. It's just the result of your functional disassociation,
Mhm.
is what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start because what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to go right for like where your trauma is. That basically the memory of the trauma that is inciting your disassociative mind, your disassociation, because your brain is basically hijacking the decision making and saying that memory is way too pervasive, it's way too difficult, and so the only way to avoid the memory is to disassociate.
Mhm.
So that could be, again, your brain just hijacking your consciousness. So we're going to start normally. Now we're going to do what I call rapport. So it's kind of getting your brain back here with us. So I'm going to start by having you, and I normally do this with magnets. If we were together, I would be using magnets right over your head, North Pole on both sides, because that's a great interference field. A magnet has a lot more oomph than a
Hmm.
little bit of body work or somebody's hands. So anyway, but because we're doing it this way, we can get away with it for a few times. So I need you to just put your hands on either side of your head, and you're going
Okay.
to squeeze your head as you breathe in. So squeeze in, breathe in as you squeeze, and then release and breathe out. And then breathe in and squeeze and release and breathe out. And then breathe in again and breathe out. And that was 3 times. So now the next one we're going to do is in the front of your head and in the back of your head, you're going to lift to the ceiling while we breathe in. So lift and breathe in and breathe out as you let go. And then lift and breathe in and let go and breathe out. And then the third time, lift and breathe in and let go and breathe out. All right. So that is, and then I'm going to ask, I mean, people watching this, because I'm the creator of this, they're always very interested in how I'm going to like wing it here. And I'm already going in my head, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it the way I would do it. So I'm going to ask, now we'll ask on so I'm going to ask your body, where is this trauma? Yeah. So there is a significant trauma, and it's conception to birth, birth to 5, age 5. Do you know of anything? So age 5 is the significant trauma. Is there a significant trauma there? I mean, you might have traumas you're thinking of, and I could be far off, but something at age 5 is a big deal. Do you know what it is?
Um, I'm not sure. There is something that I can think of that happened within that age range.
Yeah. Well, just think of it. Okay.
Oh,
So think about that. That's it. You got it. So I thought before I even explore it, let's just see if it muscle tests. So
mhm.
whatever it is you're thinking of, that trauma at age 5, in that age range, or yeah, it is it's it. So before you even describe it, we'll just start looking for emotion. So think about that trauma around age 5, and yeah, grief, my grief. So my grief. And do you know why you had grief in that trauma? Do you want to say what it is?
Sure. Without getting too specific,
Yeah.
so it was kind of like a coming online moment where I realized that my dad did not care about me at all.
Oh, wow. That was really little for you to come online.
Yeah.
So you just realized, did he live at your house?
Yeah.
So I realized he did. So something happened that made you realize that.
Hmm.
So, and I realized, so that was, and the meaning you gave to the trauma was, my dad doesn't care about me.
Yeah.
So even though it was a realization, it was a meaning you assigned to what happened.
Hmm.
So I realized dad didn't, I'm writing notes, didn't care about me. So, so the trauma, you said something happened. So can you tell me, was it like you got hurt, or your dad hit you, or
So it was at the time I was experiencing a lot of emotional pain, and I came to him to talk about it because I was looking for comfort.
yeah,
And I said something really intense for a 5-year-old, and I don't know where I would have like gotten this, but it felt like I had to say something so extreme to get him to pay attention. I told him that I wanted to kill myself, like
right,
at that age. And he
right.
literally looked at me and he was like, you're not going to do anything, whatever. And then he turned around and then he went back to work. And I was like, okay.
Oh man. So you were having such intense emotional pain because of something else that happened?
Yeah, and I don't even remember exactly what it was. And um,
I mean, was it something at school or a friend in the neighborhood?
I think what triggered it prior was my dad had done something and he just was being, an asshole. And
Hmm.
but that's the thing that I don't remember. I mean, it was just kind of like an everyday thing, and I was just like, hey, this is a lot. This is too much. This goes on a lot. So
So, right, your only way to describe the emotional overwhelm was to say, I think I want to kill myself.
yeah, but it was to get his attention and to at least get him. It was to like get some level of like alarm in him so that he would even come and focus on me, and he still didn't.
Oh, wow. All right. So alarm in him, and he just didn't, he just dismissed it.
Yeah.
Wow. So have you ever asked him about that since?
No, I haven't.
But you remember it.
Oh yeah, I do.
And it was a turning point for you.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm guessing that at age 5 you became very independent.
Um, yeah, and I think prior to that too, I liked going off on my own a lot as a kid and like hiding out in the woods and just playing by myself.
Hmm. But you don't, so, but you cannot, you don't know what was really emotionally weighing you down that you needed to talk to somebody about?
No. Well, like I said, I think it was just kind of like an everyday thing, and it was just kind of like a call for, hey, yo, care about me. I don't know.
You don't know. You're
I
like,
don't know.
so
Yeah.
you're not even sure. Like something could have actually happened, like somebody made fun of you at school, or
Yeah, and I have no idea.
or you really hurt yourself and you were scared, or you don't
Mhm.
know, like something like that could have happened,
Mhm.
but you don't remember what happened.
No, because I feel like it was such a I don't think it was anything especially traumatic. I think it was just kind of an everyday thing, and then a little kid coming to their parent looking for
Yeah.
guidance or comfort, and then
Yeah. So I'm going to ask, I'm just going to ask, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I realized Dad didn't care about me. I have that. I felt grief. That's true. Is it grief because I'm not, yeah, he doesn't care about me, and whether I live or die doesn't matter to him.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, my life doesn't matter. What happens to me doesn't matter. Because I'm gonna also look and see if there's any memory that doesn't matter.
Mhm.
You know, that maybe if something could have happened to you that you're not aware of, you know,
Yeah.
because first of all, I don't know what to do with it. And then the person I go to tells me I don't matter. So now what am I going to do with that memory? And your brain is just going to go, just forget about it.
Mhm.
And so then the trauma becomes the rejection of the help I needed, the rejection of me, because this even happened. Um, so is there, yeah. So I'm gonna say also on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad? In other words, I'm wondering, I don't know, and I don't want to presume something. I'm
Mhm.
wondering if you are projecting the grief and pain from whatever it was you needed to talk to him about into his reaction.
Whoa.
Yes, yes.
Oh man. Oh no. That just kind of
I mean, we're gonna like do forgiveness statements if,
yeah.
I mean, about that. We can only construct little bits of that, so I can't really say absolutely. Um,
Mhm.
but it just because it even seems like that's a really intense reaction to your dad going, "You're not gonna do anything. Go away. I'm working." You
Mhm.
know, it seems like an intense reaction to that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask on a scale of 1 to 10, um, yeah, it's a 10. So this is the trauma of him saying he didn't care is a 10. But is that, yeah, when I ask if that's actually where that extreme 10 is located, it's there now, but that's kind of, I want to say that I think is the wall to a memory you don't remember, to the memory of what was really plaguing you as a 5-year-old, even though you go, I think it was just something dumb. But it might be dumb to you as an adult now, but not really dumb as a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So we'll say, yeah, so the thing that was bothering me, I'm going to go right to the feeling I had before I even came and talked to my dad. So the emotional weight I'm carrying before I even come, and is it emotional? Yeah, it's emotional, not physical. Yeah. So the emotional weight I'm feeling in my body at age 5 is a 10. So
Hmm.
before I've even mentioned it to him, I am feeling at a 10. So I want to know where, like, what's the memory? So this is
Oh,
the feeling I have before I mention it to him that was inciting me to talk to him. Um,
yeah.
it's
You
grief.
know,
What? Go ahead.
you know, I think what got me to that level of emotion where I felt the need to even say that, I think I was trying to get his attention for something. He kept ignoring me, and then that's when I said it.
Oh, look at how that's popping in now.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People that happens often where someone says, "You know what? This is what's coming up." And I go, "Well, that's probably what it is." Um, so my grief, so he didn't care about me. And then I have to go to an extreme to get him to care. So my grief because yeah, so my grief because no matter what I'm trying to do, is it, I'm just going to ask, is it because, yeah, is there something else? No, it's because I need him to give me some attention. I need him to talk to me just for something I need help with, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I need something from him and he won't even act like I exist. So
Yeah.
then I say I'm going to kill myself just to get him to pay attention, and he still doesn't pay attention.
Yeah.
So my grief because I can't, yeah, get him to help because I'm guessing a 5-year-old needs help.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking I can't get him to help. So there's something you wanted to do and it involved needing an adult, is my
Hmm.
guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So you were trying to do something and it was really important to you and it meant you had to go get an adult to help you. And then when you tried to get the adult, it wouldn't, yeah, he wouldn't do it. He still
Yeah.
didn't do it. So yeah, is there a time earlier? So my grief, so you already were at a distress of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 with yeah, and then I'm going to ask I got two traumas here. The grief of oh, I can't get him to help me. So my strategy is I'll tell him I'm going to kill myself. I'll say something shocking,
Hmm.
but then he still doesn't help me. And then I give a meaning to what he did. I turn it into something that isn't even truth, but for me, it is at age 5.
Hmm.
And then subjective units of elation. Nope. 0, 0. Okay. And then show up, show up. Nope. I'm checking some measurements here while we go now that I've got my basic foundation. Show up. Oh, pay attention. No. So this is you having trouble with uh, showing up for your life, which is that functional disassociation, and paying attention. When you do show up, you're not real good at paying attention because you're really just being a robot.
Hmm.
And oh, you're not good with tell the truth either.
What?
Yeah, sorry. Because your dad really loved you.
No, he did not.
Huh? He did.
No way. No, no, he's abusive.
But what I'm saying, so was there abuse before this?
I mean, probably emotional and mental that just seems so normal. It's like I don't
Right.
even,
So he's
yeah.
abusive in the sense of he's very neglectful.
Yeah, and as a kid, I mean, he's just said some really messed up stuff
Right.
and
But it was normalized.
very normalized because I didn't realize that that was even wrong until like a couple years ago when I'd moved back home.
That what he said, things he said.
Yeah, and was still saying.
All right. So where I'm saying you don't like tell the truth, what I mean by that is I gave a meaning to what my dad, like I'm I'm creating a truth based on him telling me when I'm 5 that he knows I'm not going to kill myself. So
Mm,
I translate that to mean the gospel truth is that must mean he doesn't care about me at all. And I
yeah,
don't know if I
okay.
believe that's true in that moment.
Yeah, like the catastrophizing.
Right.
I
Right.
think I think for me it wasn't so much the word, but it was like the reaction from him, like the
Yes.
visceral
Oh
and
yeah.
his.
Right. Like neglect is so perfect. And where we started in this session was you saying I self-neglect and abandon,
Okay, yeah.
which is fascinating to me because you're saying my dad is abusive really because of primarily because of overt neglect
Mm-hmm.
and verbal abuse probably.
Yeah,
Um, but neglect, so here you are checking out and neglecting yourself, doing to yourself as an adult what your dad did to you as a child.
yes.
Basically, your issues with your dad have brought have arisen inside of you so that now
Well,
you treat you the way your dad treated you,
yeah.
which is that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you gotta, yeah, that's gotta go. Okay, so let go. So I have show up, pay attention, tell the truth, let go. And I think you go so disassociated and just go through the motions of what you're supposed to do in life, sort of what you're supposed to do, probably based on this younger version. And then show up, pay attention, tell the truth are all a little squishy, like you're not really congruent with that. Letting go, you're super congruent with. Did you know that?
What do you mean?
Like you're good at just letting go.
I don't know, because I feel like I hold on to things like I clutch my pearls.
I love it. I love it. That's a great description. Um, I just wish I had a video of you clutching your pearls. That would be great.
I know.
Anyway, all right. Well, I get that letting go, you're much better at letting go than you are showing up, paying attention, and telling the truth. So that's just some of the languaging we'll use when we get into the forgiveness statements. So I'm also going to ask what stage of healing you're in with this trauma. And it's, yeah, stage of healing 1, 2. Oh, good. Stage 2, which is anger. Now, I will tell you there are 7 stages of healing
Hmm.
and so the first one is and I would believe that you've been going from anger bargain to depression and then back to anger bargain depression, anger bargain depression, and you never get past this one place. It's like a wall. And so you get angry because anger at least feels like something compared to the numbness of depression. And then you go to bargain, which is like, okay, maybe I'll do this video session with this person. I'll tell you, whatever it is you've done, I'll eat better. I'll try to set up a routine. I'll do something to make it work for me. Um, so the stages of healing are denial. Denial is, and I've got, so it's kind of like where you're at. This is my little card. So we
Hmm.
have denial and then anger and then bargain and then depression. And this is where people get stuck
Yeah.
in anger, bargain, depression. We're going to get you out of there today. So after depression is acceptance. Acceptance looks a lot like bargain, only now the difference in bargain and acceptance In bargain, I do what I do because I hate my life. I hate the way I live my life. I hate something and it's just got to give. I just got to change it because I cannot take another day like this. So I do what I do out of the energy of hate. In acceptance, I do things differently out of the energy of love. So the difference is now I make changes in my life because I can't live under these circumstances because I love my life too much to live this way.
Mm-hmm.
And my life is too valuable to God and to community and the world. I cannot keep living this way. So that's the difference in acceptance. After acceptance is light emerging, which is where all the things that were difficult start to get easier. So where I kept looking for the light to come in and real change to happen, in light emerging, it starts to emerge, it starts to happen. And it's not because I did everything right. And it's not because I'm following the right code or taking the right pill. It's because I'm energetically past that depression. And it's like, let go, let God. Things just start to come in. And they come in because of a divine intervention. It's kind of like when the baby is born and the woman is in transition. It's like it's the most intense part of a delivery, but it's also the shortest part. So after light emerging, where I think on some days I think nothing has changed, but then the next day I find out, wow, I don't feel as bad today. It didn't last as long, and I'm moving forward, and things are changing automatically in my life. New people are coming in, and old people are going out. I'm not even trying. Um, After that, you then end up in stage 7, which is creation of new life. Creation of new life is where I'm like, everything starts to change in my life, like where I live, the clothes I wear, my state of health, the job I do, or how I do my job. So a lot of things change in creation of new life that are remarkable. And I always tell people, you always know when you're in creation of new life because everything changes. Like you might get a new car. It's really weird. Like everything, the whole landscape changes. So we're going to get you to that place over the hump of depression today. And
Okay.
so we'll start. You're at stage 2. Like I said, I'm sure you've been to depression and then back to anger and then to bargain and then depression and back. So stage 2, how many issues? 1, family, current, self. Okay. It's anger, my anger at myself. This is the first issue, my anger with self. And this goes with, we still have these other 2 issues that have grief with the trauma. So we're going
Mm-hmm.
to see if the anger with myself also goes, yes, it goes with, the trauma. Is there a different one? No, it goes with this trauma at age 5. So I have grief because I can't get him to help, and I'm angry at myself because I can't get him to help. I'm angry at myself because when I ask your body, it's my fault, I get, yeah. So I'm taking responsibility for his bad behavior. So it's my fault. If I was a better kid, if I was more important, if I was prettier, if he really wanted a kid, I could somehow make him a better dad, kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So it's my anger, which is kind of a hyper responsibility. So so this is anger with myself, there. Okay. So what I need you to do is you're going to put a hand over your liver. Do you know where your liver is?
I
It's right
think
here.
so.
It's on
Yeah.
the right side under your breast on the rib cage. So you're going to put one hand there and one hand over your forehead. And then I need you to breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And then breathe in and breathe out. Yeah. And then now grief, yeah. So the next one, I need you to put a hand over here, over your shoulder, kind of
Okay.
your lung is what you're doing, and then a hand over your forehead, which are the emotional points for acupuncture right there. So I need you to breathe in. So this is the grief and anger. Breathe in and breathe out and breathe in and breathe out. And then any other emotions. So forgiveness. All right. So we're going to say Yeah, so you have where you check out as soon as you just like dwell in this functional dissociative state,
Yes, I
which
do.
is really easy for you to be a space cadet.
Yeah.
Um, because there's like it's the only place apparently that you feel like you get some kind of freedom from what you couldn't figure out and change in your dad.
Hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like I have to check out because I'm so upset, I'm so angry and so sad about how he is, and I can't change it. So the only relief I get is to just check out, and then I get numb,
I'm
and
processing
I
that.
don't think about it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can. Is your dad still around?
Yeah, he is.
And are you around him ever?
I was with him yesterday.
Oh, good. Good. Okay. So so I'm gonna have you, we're gonna tap on both sides of your head. And the reason you're gonna do this is because um, we're interfering with the disassociative brain. So your brain, if we stuck you in an MRI, would be totally like offline. There would be no circulation. It would look like nobody's home.
Hmm.
So we're just tapping so that we force your brain to pay attention. Because if your head is getting tapped, your brain is going, is she going to get a head injury? You know, your brain is concerned. So we're just going to tap, and I'm going to have you say the forgiveness statements after me. So I
Okay.
need you to say, I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that I cannot love my dad
that I cannot love my dad
without feeling
without feeling
extreme grief and anger
extreme grief and anger
because I couldn't get him to help me ever.
because I couldn't get him to help me ever.
And yeah, and he's mean.
He is mean.
And he doesn't care about me.
He does not care about me.
Even when I think I'm going to die, he doesn't care.
Even when I think I'm about to die, he doesn't care.
And then breathe. Wow. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that letting go of this grief and trauma and anger
that letting go of this grief and trauma and anger
from age 5
from age 5
and throughout my life with him over time
and throughout my life with him over time
would not be a good thing for me.
would not be a good thing for me.
And it will just make me more vulnerable to get hurt by him
And it will make me more vulnerable to get hurt by him
and to be rejected.
and to be rejected.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
I cannot forgive my dad unless he changes. And even then, I don't know.
I cannot forgive my dad unless he changes, and even then, I don't know.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that I have to functionally disassociate
that I have to functionally disassociate
to be a good person.
to be a good person.
Because when I pay attention
Because when I pay attention
and I show up
and I show up
and I tell the truth,
and I tell the truth,
like I felt like I was going to kill myself
like I feel like I was going to kill myself
and I needed a lot of help,
and I needed a lot of help,
um, I just get hurt.
I just get hurt.
And then breathe. I forgive, I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for for
for
hating
hating
my dad
my dad
because, well, and every part of myself
and every part of myself
that might look just like him.
that might just look like him.
And then breathe. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for functionally disassociating
for functionally disassociating
so that I can avoid this part of myself that I hate.
so that I can avoid that part of myself that I hate.
The part that really can't forgive my dad and really despises him and hates him and harshly judges him. The part
The part that hates him,
can't forgive him,
can't forgive him,
harshly judges him.
harshly judges him.
Yeah, that's not me.
That's not me.
Yeah, I can't handle that part of me. So I
I
just check
can't,
out
I can't handle that part of me, so I just check out.
and then breathe. Oh, that feels better. I love and accept myself,
I love and accept myself,
even though
even though
I hold a lot of harsh judgment and hatred
I hold a lot of harsh judgment and hatred
toward my dad and the way he behaved, and the way he's behaved,
towards my dad and the way he's behaved,
neglecting his beautiful little girl
neglecting his beautiful little girl,
and making me feel like I have no value or need to live.
and making me feel like I have no value or no need to live.
Yeah, and then breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that the only way I can manage the hatred from age 5
that the only way that I can manage the hatred from age 5
is to disassociate.
is to disassociate,
And then I won't be bad.
and then I will be bad,
Then I won't have to deal with that part of myself
and I won't have to deal with that part of myself
that my crappy dad brings out in me.
that my crappy dad brings out in me.
Then breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
if my dad was kind and loving and really a better person,
if he was kind and loving and a better person,
then I wouldn't have this problem of hating anybody.
I wouldn't have this problem of hating anybody.
I could be the perfect loving person 100% of the time too.
I could be a loving person 100% of the time too.
And then breathe. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for denying and burying the hatred I couldn't handle.
for denying and burying the hatred that I couldn't handle,
And then punishing myself by neglecting myself because I had it.
and then punishing myself by neglecting myself
Because I was just like my dad.
because I was just like my dad.
Breathe. Because I feel a bit of, I feel some shame for being a person who could hate my dad or
Because
anyone
yeah, I feel some shame for being the type of person who could hate my dad or anyone
and harshly judge people
and harshly judging people
to the point of unforgiveness.
to the point of unforgiveness.
I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that I have to self neglect
that I have to self neglect
and self abandon
and self abandon
to balance out that hatred I had for my dad
to balance out the hatred that I had for my dad,
and his behavior and my harsh judgment.
for his behavior and my harsh judgment.
And then breathe. Yeah. So good. All right.
Mhm.
I forgive my dad
I forgive my dad
for being unaware
for being unaware
and unkind and neglectful
and unkind and neglectful
and checked out
and checked out,
and not even knowing when he was hurting somebody
and not even knowing when he was hurting somebody
or caring.
or caring.
I forgive him.
I forgive him.
And then breathe. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for using self-neglect and self-abandonment.
for using self-neglect and abandonment.
Um, wow, you just check out. My arms get tired. If you want to take a break, you can. I'm taking little breaks here, but still going back to tap your head.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgive myself for using self-neglect and self-abandonment.
I forgive myself for using self-neglect and self-abandonment.
Those patterns in my life, those patterns and habits in my life,
Those patterns and habits in my life
um, as my way of evening the score with the harsh judgment and hatred.
as my way of evening the harsh score
The
of
evening the score
evening
with,
the score of harsh judgment and hatred
that I
that
have
I
stored about my dad.
have stored about my dad.
And that yeah, and then breathe. I say yes
I say yes
to the energy of shame
to the energy of shame
that I feel,
that I feel,
that I took on,
that I took on
because I had a dad who acted like this.
because I had a dad who acted like this.
And then I mirrored that back to him
I mirrored that back to him
in my own self.
in my own self.
And then breathe. I say yes to this shame,
I say yes to this shame.
and I call it up
I call it up
and I release it
and I release it
on my body, mind, and spirit.
on my body, mind, and spirit.
And then breathe. I say yes to the grief and anger
I say yes to the grief and anger
and the trauma I feel,
and the trauma I feel
because not only did I realize my dad didn't care about me,
because not only did I realize that my dad doesn't care about me,
I used that to justify terrible feelings of hatred that made me feel guilty.
I use that to justify feeling terrible feelings of hatred that make me feel guilty.
Yeah, it made me feel like a terrible person.
It made me feel like a terrible person,
Yeah, just like him.
just like him.
And then breathe. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for hiding the hatred and yeah, for hiding the hatred that I couldn't deal with at age 5
for hiding the hatred that I couldn't deal with at age 5
in the anger and grief and trauma.
and the anger and grief and trauma
Yeah. So that I automatically pay myself with the self-neglect and abandonment that my dad gave me.
so that I automatically pay myself with the self-neglect and abandonment that my dad gave me.
And then breathe. Yeah. I give my dad permission to forgive me
I give my dad permission to forgive me
for hating him
for hating him
and blaming him,
and blaming him,
making him responsible
making him responsible
for this terrible experience of encountering my own dark side.
for this terrible experience of encountering my dark side.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that that my that what I hate about myself,
that what I hate about myself,
even though I hid it for so long,
even though I hid it for so long,
and even now I hide it or justify it
and even now I hide it and justify it,
or blame him. That's easy.
or blame him.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I forgive myself for believing this, that my life doesn't matter.
I forgive myself for believing that my life doesn't matter.
And then breathe. I give myself permission to let go
I give myself permission to let go
of changing something in my dad I don't have any control of changing.
of changing something in my dad that I don't have any control of changing.
And then breathe. Oh, yeah. That was good. See, you did that let go good. You didn't think so? Okay. So I give myself permission
I give myself permission
to take back all the power
to take back all the power
that I surrendered to my dad in this hatred.
that I surrendered to my dad in this hatred.
I take back all that power and I use it
I take back all of my power and I use it
to love myself,
to love myself,
to love my life,
to love my life,
to show up for
to,
me
sh- to show up for me
and people I love
and people I love
without feeling guilty because I hated my dad
without feeling guilty because I hated my dad
for not showing up for me.
for not showing up for me.
And then breathe. Without this pattern
Without this pattern
of grief and trauma and anger,
of grief and trauma and anger,
I am free
I am free
to accept my dad the way he is,
to accept my dad the way he is,
even if he never changes or gets worse,
even if he never changes or gets worse,
and to use the power I have
and to use the power I have
to create more love and happiness and joy in my own life,
to create more joy and love and happiness in my own life.
to pay attention,
So pay attention,
to show up for what I love,
to show up for what I love,
and to tell the truth.
and to tell the truth.
To tell the truth that it's possible that that there could be a part of me that struggles with hatred and harsh judgment.
To tell the truth that there's a part of me that struggles with
Hatred
hatred
and harsh judgment,
and harsh judgment,
especially when I think somebody deserves it.
especially when I think somebody deserves it.
Yeah, that's the truth. That
That's the
doesn't
truth.
that doesn't make me a bad person.
That doesn't make me a bad person.
And harshly judging those who I deem worthy,
And judging those who I deem
I deem worthy of harsh judgment,
worthy of
that
harsh judgment
doesn't make me righteous.
doesn't make me righteous
And then breathe. Or free.
I'm free,
Or or less vulnerable.
less vulnerable.
And then breathe. That was good. So I need you to say, without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
um, I'm gonna if you can keep kind of tapping on your head or take a break. I'm gonna rub these points under your collarbone now too. Um, Without this pattern,
without this pattern,
I am free
I'm free
to ask God to give me back my broke, give me back my heart,
to ask God to give me back my heart,
The one that my dad broke.
The one that my dad broke.
And that I threw away.
And that I threw away.
So he couldn't break it anymore.
So he couldn't break it anymore.
I ask God.
I ask God.
To return my heart whole back to me now.
To return my heart back to me whole now.
So that I can love myself.
So that I can love myself.
And show up fully for the people I love.
And show up fully for the people I love.
And expand my capacity to love people who I harshly judge.
And expand my heart to love people who I harshly judge.
To love more.
To love more.
Than I ever thought possible.
Than I ever thought possible.
And then breathe. Without this pattern.
Without this pattern.
I am free to give up the idea of deserving.
I am free to give up the power.
The idea
of deserving.
Yeah. I ask God to set me free from the lie of deserving.
I ask God to set me free from the lie of deserving.
So that I can. Give up self-hatred.
Give up self-hatred.
In favor of humility.
In favor of humility.
And then breathe. Without this lie of deserving.
Without this lie of deserving.
I am free to accept.
I am free to accept.
I am no better or worse than my dad.
I am no better or no worse than my dad.
And I never have been.
And I never have been.
I'm just doing the best I can at any given moment, and so is he.
I'm doing the best I can at any given moment, and so is he.
And I'm just grateful.
And I'm just grateful.
That divine forces of love.
That divine forces of love.
And God.
And God.
Make it possible for me.
Make it possible for me.
Wow. To serve my life and others.
To serve my life and others.
Taking action every day.
Taking action every day.
In love and gratitude.
In love and gratitude.
And then breathe. Without this lie of deserving.
Without this lie of deserving.
Yeah. I let go of all entitlement to a dad who knows what the heck he's doing.
I let go of all entitlement to a dad who knows what the heck he's doing.
And who knows how to be a good father.
And knows how to be a good father.
I let go of my entitlement.
I let go of my entitlement.
And step into the truth of humility.
And step into the truth of humility.
That there's nothing I'm ever going to do or be or say.
That there's nothing that I'm ever going to do or be or say.
That can transform the worst people in my life into better people.
That can transform the worst people in my life into better people.
Even if I disassociate.
Even if I disassociate.
Or hate myself.
Or hate myself.
Or neglect myself.
Or neglect myself.
I can't make another person love me more.
I can't make another person love me more.
Or show up the way I want them to.
Or show up the way that I want them to.
I take back all the power I gave away.
I take back all of the power that I gave away.
To people that I depended on.
To people that I depended on.
to show up for me a certain way.
To show up for me in a certain way.
And that gives me, that opens up massive space.
That opens up massive space.
Where I can forgive them.
Where I can forgive them.
And I can forgive myself.
And I can forgive myself.
And I can accept who I am with humility.
And I can accept who I am with humility.
And just do the best I can.
And just do the best that I can.
Trusting the grace of God does the rest.
Trusting the grace of God does the rest.
And that the grace of God even will do the rest for my dad in my life.
And the grace of God will do the rest for my dad in my life.
Right. So my dad gets off scot-free.
So my dad gets off scot-free.
When I open a space for God's grace in my life.
When I open a space for God's grace in my life.
It benefits both me and my dad.
It benefits both me and my dad.
And then breathe. Ah, so good. Okay. So let me test a few of these measurements. So show up, pay attention, tell the truth, let go. Those are all good. And then subjective units of distress. Oh, that's a 0. How about in the memory? Age 5, the distress I felt in that memory. Oh, we took that one to a 0. And then what about when my dad says, oh, you're not going to kill yourself? Oh, that one went to a 0 too. How are you feeling?
I'm definitely feeling lighter.
I love that. That's the most common thing people say. I've had people come in my office and actually say, I wish I would have weighed on a scale before you did this because I feel like I weigh less. You're so much lighter.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that my own, what I perceive in a session, there was so much changing in you. And that you're going to see changes, like even over the next few days, like you're going to notice things as you kind of adjust to this new setting that is there in your body and your mind, how you categorize things. Just because you seem very insightful, just based on how you see some of our earlier description in this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that you're going to really be more aware of not being okay with neglecting your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Okay.
you're going to like realize that's me showing up for me like my dad showed up for me.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work. That little girl, like, it's not, she was worthy of more love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say deserving, because deserving means you got to do something, and that's just going to put a burden on you.
Yeah.
So she is worthy because she is a divine creation of a divine creator who loves her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you're worthy, because you are above all in the creation. So, all right. So I will send you, I'll send you a copy of, I'm going to send you a copy of this. This is what to expect after your EPT session, because that was really deep. I mean, we did hit 2 traumas that you were holding a certain way that has been the reason, like it's been your, this is what I want to say. We were breaking through the grudge that you buried in yourself with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And you buried it. And the only way to keep from like looking at the darkness inside of you, that you just as a 5-year-old are horrified. I can't be a bad person. A 5-year-old would feel terrible. As we get older, we do stuff, we go, oh, I can let myself off the hook of that. But little kids are like, oh my goodness, I'm terrible that I would think that. So I cannot think that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was buried. And then the only way you could keep it, that sense of hatred and harsh judgment towards your dad for how he was, is to be disassociated. So you just didn't think about it. That's what you were really hiding from, I think. So I have this, it says what to expect after your EPT session, and it's sometimes people have a continued release of emotions. They sometimes feel tired. I tell them, drink some water, because we were also like changing the way the energy system is set in your body by changing what's in your brain. And
Mhm.
then sometimes people get hungry, and sometimes people just notice other patterns in their life that the dots start connecting and they just start saying, wow, even that I dealt with that. So that's some of the things, but I will send you a video of this recording, and
Okay.
I'll send you a copy of this, what to expect after an EPT session.
Hmm.
Um, Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
did you have anything else?
No, no, no.
Oh, wow. And we
Just
didn't
thank
go.
you.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh, we covered so much territory. Um, all right. I will. I'm gonna cut out now and thank you. I hope you have a great day. It's been
Yes,
nice
thank
meeting
you.
you. If you have
Likewise.
any more questions about EPT or you want to watch this online, it's the Facebook page. Are you aware of that Facebook page? It's called
Yeah,
Live EPT Sessions. Yeah, you can
yeah,
join that and you can look at other people's sessions. So
yeah.
anyway, so nice meeting you. You're gonna do fantastic. I can
Thank
just tell
you.
you, you will do fantastic. This
Thank
is
you.
this is a good lump to get rid of.
Yeah, it is. It
Oh
really is.
yeah. Okay. Bye bye. You have a great day,
All right.
Catherine.
Bye. Thank you so much.